Welcome in, everybody, to the away team, which is what we're now calling a podcast that used to be called Another Damn Cleveland Sports Podcast. We're going to keep changing the name, I would say 6 to 8 months at a time until we find one that we've really settled on. I'm here with Jordan, as always. I'm excited about the new name. We've got some fancy graphics that go with it, thanks to our friend Wreck This League. He's the best out there. And it's just it's fun to have a look and a name that is a little bit easier to say than the name that we had previously, which our friend said that's more of a tagline, not really a name for a podcast. So note taken, and we're the away team now. So Jordan, welcome to the away team.
Thanks, man. It sounds really nice.
It does.
It's got
your
a nice
pitch.
To it. Yeah,
just to be like totally transparent, that was your pitch.
I think that for two fellas who
Mm-hmm.
have a connection to Cleveland, but both do not live there currently. We will live there together in one house in like our 70s. I think we've discussed that. I'll reveal that.
We definitely have. Yes, we definitely have discussed that.
Andrew and I will be living together in a podcast house later in life. So we're in Cleveland. We're looking forward to that
with 3 lucky subscribers.
And if you're the 100 subscriber in 30 years, you get to live with Andrew and Jordan. The giveaways to the 100 subscriber keep coming. So there's a lot to collect at this point.
Be lucky, and they're really building up the suspense, taking their sweet ass time. No, it's I totally agree, Jordan. It's a great name that is based in the idea that we root for Cleveland sports. But I mean, in my case, I haven't lived in Ohio since 2007, so it's been a while. I've been on a road trip for the past
you've been on the road
19 years. So it's an extended absence. I know you are enjoying living in LA, and I mean, you go back more often than I do. You've still got family there, more roots there than I do at this point. But the idea of kind of following a team from a distance is what we're trying to go for. And I think probably a lot of our listeners are in a similar boat.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice to have professional looking branding. So again, shout out to Wreck This League, as Andrew said. So happy to be part of the away team. It'll be, we'll have some nice branded watermarks on our videos and whatnot now. And that makes us finally, Andrew, professional podcasters.
Yeah.
All our life we've waited for this, and it's finally here.
Some people say it's when you start making money from your podcast, which we are not.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, and I disagree with that. It's when you've got a graphic that you're not ashamed of. That's when it really clicks. And when you can then, I mean, I don't want to like give away too much, but we'd like to eventually start having guests on here where we can kind of bring somebody else into the fold and talk through some of our crazy ideas about sports. I mean, the idea of getting more people introduced to the idea of a Deshaun Watson death march, that's deeply appealing to me. So
gets us going. Honestly.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting up in the morning at this point. So we're looking for those opportunities as well. But part of that is having a kind of a more coherent and refined style. So excited for this. Has been like a fun experiment, I would say, over the first year, but we're closing in on a year of doing it. I think it's like our 27th, 28th episode, something like that. And it's been, I think, a learning experience for us, just in terms of like what works for us, what doesn't work for us, what we enjoy about it. And I'm really excited for kind of this next chapter. It's always, when you cover Cleveland sports, like the Browns season is going to be the like where you make your hay, like you're not going to do a ton in May, June, and July with the way that the season works. But now with even with the Browns where they're at, we're going to get plenty of, opportunities to talk football and talk Cleveland sports over the next few months. And I'm excited to do it with a new look. So thanks everybody for hanging with us, and tell your friends. I mean, if this is something you've been enjoying, let somebody else know, see if they enjoy it too.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Twitter page. We're gonna have a Blue Sky page. I'd like for us to have a TikTok where some of these videos can live too. So we're gonna fully do it, and appreciate anybody who has already been along for the ride, but trying to make this thing really kind of move forward. And all of a sudden, like you said, Andrew, there's now just like a lot of things going on at once, whereas earlier in our tenure here there was not. All of a sudden it feels like a ton is starting to happen. So a good time to do a podcast about these things, because there's a lot to talk about. So here we are, the away team, ready to go.
Let's start it. So I mean, literally right before we started, the Cavs finally got the Payton Watson trade done. sending Max Strus to the Lakers, I believe. Is that right? And then
Clippers, other
Clippers.
LA
I just
team.
saw LA.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You never know.
You don't.
You're just like, could be either one, I guess,
Right.
if we're not going to specify.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a Clipper.
Okay,
He's
he's a
reuniting
Clipper.
with our friend Darius Garland.
I mean, and that's great. We like that for them, you know. And then a draft pick from the Cavs goes to the Nuggets, and so we talked about this last week, and you were pretty bullish about what this could mean for this version of the Cavs in terms of the possible moves that were on the table for them for the rest of this offseason. This was kind of at the top of your wish list. So for them to get it done, credit to, you know, the GM. I mean, I think we have been kind of negative about like, oh, it feels like the same thing. And I think that's fair. I also think you got to give Kobe Altman credit for like when these things come up, he usually finds a way to get them done. And I mean, obviously the Harden thing didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to. And I mean, time will tell what happens next, but he got that over the line, gets this over the line, and maybe it changes the look for the Cavs a little bit this year.
Yeah, I was fully ready for the Shams tweet to say Jonathan Kuminga has signed with the Cavs, and we were just going to be like, yep, sure, and Payton Watson is going elsewhere, and we were just going to have to like deal with Kuminga being great for one game and then the next game looking like he's never played basketball before. So the fact that, literally right before we were set to record, the tweet came through that it was Payton Watson. Really, I said it was like the one move they could make that would legitimately get me excited again for the season. They are obviously this is going to be a bigger role for Payton Watson than the role he had in Denver. He started a lot for Denver, but that offense is so just heliocentric around Nikola Jokic, like that he didn't really have to do a lot, especially with the ball in his hands. But you do come to a place in Cleveland where James Harden is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Donovan Mitchell is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. And even probably to an extent, and you want this to be the case, Evan Mobley is going to have the ball in his hands a lot. But Payton Watson is 23 years old. I was shocked. I looked that up before this. He's only 23 years old.
Wow. Yeah, that is young.
And you're signing him for it's a 4-year extension. I mean, you're getting a player that has played in the playoffs, like heavy playoff experience already, has played with one of the best players in the NBA that is a passing savant, which I would say James Harden still is. He's a really, really good defender. And you're never going to believe this, Andrew. He is taller than 6'4". I'm hearing reports that they signed someone taller than 6'4", and I'm just not sure if that's allowed.
I was just about to say that can't be legal, so that'll get obviously vetoed by the commissioner's
Adam
office.
Silver will be stepping in.
Now, does he in that situation? Is it like a height reduction surgery? Is that what happens, or is the trade just voided?
I think it's you give him the option. You say either we'll break your legs and
we'll do a reverse turkey leg lengthening on you.
Exactly. Or you just. Or the trade is going to get rescinded.
Yeah, or you just head back to Denver. Yeah, where the
we'll
tall
see if he's
people live.
man enough to take the option to stay with the Cavs. So they have a tall wing now, and that's really fun because they don't have those.
Wow.
They don't use those. So it cost them Max Strus, who I think a lot of people really liked. I think he was a very easy player to like because he just plays his ass off. He had some hustle plays in the playoffs, especially in that Detroit Pistons series that won them some pivotal games in that series. But he was always a really streaky shooter. Some games he'd be hitting everything. Other games he would be like 0 for 10, and you'd be like,
and a streaky defender, really. Like,
and a streaky defender.
I mean, there would be times where he would, you'd pull a steal out of his ass, and then like you just like seemed like you maybe fell asleep for a little, like a narcoleptic, you know, like he'd leave a guy. So I
leave a guy. He would foul guys like 10 feet from the basket from their own basket for no reason. So I think to wrap that side of it up, it's like Max Strus is a fine player, good player, helps winning teams. This roster, if you had the opportunity to make this move and he was really your only kind of trade chip, I think you do it 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah. Agreed. So it's a fun one for the Cavs. And I do think, like you said, does it change the way you feel a little bit? Yeah. And I think having said that, there's still going to be, I think, a fair amount of wanting to see it, and it's funny that like with Harden, I think it really does boil things down for the Cavs to like, they're not going to struggle to like win in the regular season. I don't think, this is really just comes down to what happens next April. So And this trade, I think, cements that impression, right? Because they really should be a pretty strong team. So it becomes about, how far out into the Eastern Conference can they get? Like, can they get the 2 seed, somewhere around there, and play some games at home, and then go from there, see what happens.
Yeah, it's the right kind of bet, I think, to make on
Yeah,
a player like a tall, legitimately 3-and-D wing. I think he shot 41% from three last season. He's going to get plenty of open shots,
right,
and he is a very good defender. They also the other downside of not having somebody 6'7", 6'8" on the wing is that not only offensively is it tough, defensively they don't have guys that can stay in
right,
front of somebody like a Jalen Brown and also
right.
now a LeBron James and like those kind of players. So
Hmm.
he solves we can't say solves yet because we don't know, but
Right.
on paper he is a solution to a lot of the issues that they have had.
Yeah.
So it does make me feel like it is a significant enough change to the roster in that way that it makes me feel like, okay, well, now there's some new energy and a little bit of a new identity to this roster, whereas had they not done anything or really just like signed Jonathan Kuminga, you'd kind of be like, okay, here, let's run it back, I guess.
Right.
So in that sense, I think it's a win.
Yeah, great. Well, excitement there. Talking about things that are exciting. The Guardians are getting shut out by the Giants at home as we speak. Which, I mean, there's just not words to describe how frustrating that is. I've been watching most of the game tonight, and you just kind of can't. Great play in the outfield to rob Hanau of what should have been an
Yep.
RBI single. But yeah, I mean, God, it's so tough. And you look at where they're at, and it really does kind of come down to the next week or two. And if they can't get some real traction against these teams that are just not that good, it would take a real miracle in September for them to be a part of this, which is just such a shame considering there's a lot more talent here than what they're playing like. And I think something we talked about last week that I think is, there's been some interesting news about Bo Naylor and a new approach for him in Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
really reducing his pull rate in just a few weeks over there. And it really speaks to the narrative that I think is emerging around the Guardians, which is they don't know how to teach hitters how to hit and make adjustments. And it's something that we've seen previously, and it feels like it's really reached a fever pitch recently of guys just not having good at bats and not having good approaches at the plate.
Yeah, before I walked into this room, I watched Brian Rocchio pop a ball up in the infield with runners on first and
Hmm.
second
Yeah.
and two outs.
Hmm.
So they play right. So they've got the Giants, who are one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball in town. They win yesterday. They score a bunch of runs. Joe Adell had 6 RBIs, hurts himself in the process, not in the lineup today. But
Well, he's
still,
literally
like
carrying an entire team on his back, so it's
he
not.
cared. Yeah, give him you got to give him
Yeah,
a day off.
right.
But you would think that because it's the Giants that shouldn't matter. You should be able to score some runs, and
Well,
they
two.
they're
We don't need more than two.
two,
Messick
actually
was
even
brilliant.
one to tie it.
Right, that'd be okay.
Messick,
Yeah,
yeah. So
Messick was
this is
brilliant,
what
and it's been
this
wasted.
was happening.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
yeah.
wasted. He had
That's
10
what's happening.
strikeouts.
Yeah,
He was phenomenal,
yeah,
and they can't string together 2 games in a row. I mean, they have
right,
not strung together 2 good games in a row in what feels like months. And so yeah, they
right.
have the Giants, then they have the Rockies, and like if they can't win 2 out of 3 in both those series,
Oh, I mean,
but
that's the minimum.
but that's the minimum,
Right.
and
It
it
it needs to
just
be
is
more like 5 or
like
6, yeah.
yeah. So watching a game like tonight is like yeah, they don't really they're not that good of a baseball team, even though it feels like
Right.
they have this talent. And to your
Yeah.
point, like you just worry about this hitting development that can be achieved in Cleveland because like you can't go from yesterday to then all right, but we scored 8 yesterday, but we can't do
Right.
it again. We can't even score 1 again against the worst team in baseball. So it's they continue to be really really frustrating, man, because it's been just like back and forth like this, and
Well, and
playoffs are a slipping.
I mean, Bazana comes up, starts off hot,
Yep.
cools off extraordinarily, right? I mean, there's a few examples now of guys who have come up and raked once they've, just arrived from Columbus, and then it's like they don't know what to do next, or they don't know what adjustments to make, or they lose their approach. I don't fully understand it. I'm not smart enough to grasp the nuances or break down the statistics, but it just feels to me like there's a stagnation offensively with almost all of the players that, if Jose Ramirez is not sort of playing, hero ball, the offense is pretty ordinary a lot of the time. And I think, in years past, you could say, well, that's all right because, they don't have a lot of major league hitters. So it makes sense that the offense is rather ordinary.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. There's too much talent here for them to be so often this bad offensively. I think they, in a way, they maybe revealed the problem a little bit more directly by making these moves at the deadline. And you don't look at the lineup and say, well, there's a bunch of outs that are just guaranteed.
No.
There's just performance issues more than anything. And it's a really interesting situation that they're in because we know that they don't like to make changes like that. They don't really fire people. They don't really, move on in situations like that. They like to keep a steady ship, but I think their hands are kind of a little bit forced if they really continue like this through the end of the season.
Yeah, and especially because like so many of their young prospects now are good hitters. Like
Right.
for a while, that's not really the case. Like it was their pitching prospects, and you had no worries about what was going to happen with them when
Right.
they got to the big leagues. But really, the only guy who has sort of consistently, without like the Guardians taking away his ability, has been Chase DeLauder, who has hit all season long.
Right.
Aside from maybe one rough patch like at the beginning of the year, he's been relatively consistent. But when you think about Bazana, when you think about Hanau, when you think about like Ralphie Velasquez will be up here next year, you think about some of these hitting prospects that they have, and you just wonder. And with some that have come and gone, like the Bo Naylor thing will be interesting to follow.
Mhm.
Juan Brito was once a highly touted prospect. He was involved in one of the trades. He's no longer here. Like you just wonder, like, okay, well, are these bad players, or is this entire hitting philosophy that they're trying to teach, whatever it is it really taking away from what some of these guys do best? And
Yeah.
it sure feels like the latter for some of these guys. So yeah, man, this has been one of the more frustrating years because you and I had talked about early in the season, and when they were in first place and they were like 9 games above 500, it really felt like, wow, they have a lineup offensively that doesn't feel like it's gonna get shut out consistently anymore. Like
Yep.
and then they make these moves at the trade deadline, and both those guys have been awesome.
Yep.
And you're still getting performances like this where you need to win
Mhm.
these games against bad teams. You're at home and you can't muster a run against the San Francisco Giants. So, yeah, man, it's uniquely frustrating this season has been, I would say.
I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it really. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. I just think it will be interesting to watch where it goes over the last 6 weeks because if this is the trajectory, then I think there's some serious questions that need to be asked. I mean, obviously, it's all overshadowed by what happens with baseball as a sport and the labor dispute that is almost guaranteed to erupt this offseason. But regardless, I mean, it's just not. It has not been acceptable, for a while now. I mean, we talked about it, and then they made the trades, and you thought that was going to be the catalyst to kind of knock them out of it. And I mean, in some ways, it feels like it's gotten worse. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'll be interested to track that. The only other thing to talk about here is Browns and a preseason game that, I mean, Jordan, I guess I'll start it this way. Can you do me a favor? Just ask me if I have thought about the Browns quarterback situation at all.
Hey, Andrew, Jordan here.
Oh, thanks. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just curious. Have you given any thought, like even a second of thought to the Browns' current quarterback situation / competition?
I don't care. I don't care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you think Mary Kay said thank you after he looked at her and said, I don't care? So for those of you that don't know, that little play was inspired by Deshaun Watson's press availability today, where Mary Kay Cabot asked him if he had thought about the welcome that he would receive from the hometown fans in Cleveland this week as they play the Buffalo Bills. And he said, just, I don't care.
Yep.
And man, like sometimes an athlete does such a good job of encapsulating everything that's wrong not just with them, but with their tenure in the city, and to a certain extent, the Haslam's ownership of the Browns. Him saying that and the look on his face is exactly the feeling that I get from the owner, the owner's son-in-law, all of the people at the top of that organization that trot out warmed over mediocrity year over year and tell me it's going to be different. They don't care. They don't. All they want to do is take your money, man. They do not care. They say they care about winning, and they don't. They don't. They care as much as Deshaun Watson cares about what the fans of the team he plays for think of him. And it's crazy that that's just okay, that he can say that, and we're just supposed to eat it like we eat all the rest of this. And I just cannot believe how obvious it is, the contempt for fans that Deshaun Watson has, and really the team has, that the fact that he's still out there, part of the team, whatever you want to say. I've said this to you like a million times, Jordan. People say they can't afford to cut him. They absolutely could have afforded to cut him this year. If they wanted to and they didn't want to compete, which they don't because they're starting him, they could have afforded to cut him. And would the roster overall be weaker? Yes, it would. Would they be in a less advantageous position to compete next year? Well, maybe. Because, they're going to, if they cut him and they have rookies at 15 positions on the team, they're probably looking at the first overall pick, and they're probably looking at a bunch of cap space all of a sudden hitting next year. So I don't know. I mean, is there some importance to saying to the fans, we screwed up, and we screwed up in such a way that we just don't want this guy to stand in front of the little backdrop thing that has our helmet all over it and just basically shit all over you? Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's important as a franchise that is about to start selling personal seat licenses to the ugliest stadium in NFL history.
Wow, that was a righteous and good rant. Thank you for that.
It's genuinely my pleasure. I do care.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do care. I think that there is such I don't think there's ever been as big of a disconnect between a quarterback and a fan base as there is Deshaun Watson.
Not even close.
And for very obvious reasons, nobody wants to see him play football here anymore from a fan base perspective. Yep. It's been it happened pretty quickly, and yet here we are in 2026. And I think you and I have touched on this, but the Browns have just backed themselves into this corner where you don't want to have to start Deshaun Watson because there's no upside to it. There's no reason to start him. He is not going to be here, hopefully, next year. Right. You got to caveat these things, so you just never know. But he's not going to get better at football. If you look at any of the all 22 clips circulating from the first preseason game, he's struggling with the exact same thing that he's struggled with.
It's the same quarterback. It's the same quarterback.
And now he has worse ligaments and can't move. So
it's right. That's the line. It's the same quarterback 2 years and 2 Achilles later.
Yes. If you watched him try to take off from defenders in the preseason game, he's not going anywhere. So,
and that was against the Bears' second team.
Yeah. Yes.
Correct. Like that is not anybody's best on defense.
Yeah. So you have that, but then you also now have the problem of, I think very clearly Todd Monken does not believe Shedeur Sanders is good enough or ready to start for the Browns.
Did you see how his practice ended today?
I don't know if I did.
They both got a 2-minute opportunity. Shedeur was with the ones today, and he got him into field goal range, and then had a procedure penalty that caused a 10-second runoff, and they weren't able to kick the field goal. And he literally cannot get the team lined up and get the ball snapped, and he is supposed to be an NFL quarterback that they drafted. It's not like this is like a fan tryout situation. Like they presumably wanted him to be on the team, and he doesn't know how to get a team lined up. After this is his second offseason.
And that's, again, like we touched on this, but when Monken says the most important thing to me is the quarterback and the pre-snap operation, he is very clearly referring to Shedeur Sanders. And so this is what you're left with. These are your options.
Well, so Dylan Gabriel, who was also tremendously bad.
It was nice of him to come in and be like, you know what? I also want to turn the ball over.
You remember that small amount of goodwill that I earned through training camp by not being the worst? Yeah. Hold on. Give me a moment.
1 second. Let me overthrow this receiver worse than Shedeur did. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
So they have made this bed for themselves where, like,
Mhm.
you're right. They could have moved on from Deshaun Watson. Nobody cares. It's a sunk cost.
Yep.
All you have to do is just admit what it is and wipe your hands of it. But because they don't have any other viable options, or they're not exploring other quarterback options like a Spencer Rattler and Anthony Richardson or whoever,
Mhm.
um, this is what they're left with, where they don't feel like, well, if we get rid of this guy, we're left with this guy. But if we get rid of this guy, we're left with this guy, and
Right.
it's all bad.
Mhm.
And that's why, to me, Andrew, this season is going to be so difficult because you have what appear to be talented players at skill positions who are rookies and who need to develop,
Mhm.
but you have quarterbacks who I don't think are going to contribute to their development in any
Correct.
way. In fact, I think they are going to contribute negatively to this
Yeah, they're gonna
development.
hinder it. Yes.
And so a lot of people are just like, well, and I agree, like, yes, this is about 2027 in that draft, but it doesn't, they don't need to be in this position with
Right.
these specific quarterbacks.
Right.
They chose to do that all by themselves.
Right.
And so it does culminate in Deshaun Watson being like, I don't care what the fans think of me. He doesn't care about Cleveland. He doesn't care about the Browns. He's trying to get any team to show interest in him after this season so that he can sign another contract somewhere. Like, he could have on any uniform.
Right.
And there's just, for a team that, like, I think a fan base that connects with, in some ways, the stubbornness of this fan base and how it just wants to connect to the Browns over and
Mhm.
over and over again, despite all of the shit that they throw at you. Yeah, to have a quarterback be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just as, yeah, like you said, it's such a culmination
Yeah.
of the whole Deshaun Watson era, the whole ownership era of Jimmy
Mhm.
Haslam, etc.
And it's like I mean, I don't wanna, like, this isn't the Zapruder film or anything, but it's not even that he's like, "Well, you can't let that bother you, I need to not care for
Yeah.
my own well-being to be within myself." It was hostile. Like, the way that he said it was the equivalent of, "I don't give a fuck." That's what he
Yeah.
said. Like, he didn't say that, but that's what he meant. And that's a different thing than saying, "I can't let myself care because I play better if I'm unencumbered by worrying about," I mean, that was not the sentiment that was being
Hmm.
relayed in that. I mean, there's video. You can go watch it. It's very clear what he's trying to get across. So, um, what I would say, Jordan, is I agree with you about the season, and I mean, obviously, and we have to find a way to enjoy ourselves because football is good. We like football. We want to watch football, right? So,
Yeah.
obviously, Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston are kind of like the bright lights on offense right now. There remains some concerns about the offensive line. I think that contributed to Judkins having a little bit of a rough time against Chicago, but Concepcion was fantastic. Boston was really good, and that's like you love to see that in terms of whatever quarterback you drop in here next year, those guys are still going to be here, right? Like, whatever
Yes.
happens with their development this year, you hope that the coaching piece of the development, the non catching a ball that's dirted right in front of you part, like, that continues to go well. And so they can be in a better position to contribute next year when they've got a quarterback that can actually play the position. But in the meantime, it'll be fun to watch Concepcion on punt returns. Even Deshaun Watson can't screw up a jet sweep handoff, I don't think. So we've got those to look forward to. I think there will be some bright spots with the offense. The other thing that I would say, beyond obviously, right, the Browns needing to lose a fair number of games to be in position to draft a quarterback, which I think we're all comfortable with at this point. I think it's just worth, like, saying that Deshaun Watson deserves all of this. Like, we
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
as fans, deserve all of this. But there's a lot of different ways that, like, he could receive comeuppance from the universe for what he did to a bunch of different massage therapists over the years. And one of the ways that that could play out is him getting ritually humiliated on an NFL field like 20, 30, 40 times. Like, if he plays 5, 6, 7 games, there's going to be like 30 games of him being awful.
Oh, it's almost guaranteed that he is going to have a game at home that will
Right.
be so bad that they are going to boo him mercilessly,
Right. And
and
he
it
might
is,
leave the field on a cart during the booing.
and that may happen.
Yeah.
So, no, I think there is, the only benefit of him playing in that way is it is sort of like this karmic experience that he
Yes.
needs to go through. To get back quickly to just some
Yeah,
positives, so we
please.
don't,
Sorry.
yeah,
I
but
didn't
no,
give you time to be positive.
yeah. I will say that also, at the very least, whether Monken is here for 1 year,
Yeah.
2 years, whatever, it's nice to see pre-snap motion in the
Mhm.
offense.
Yeah.
Something that for all
Again,
that I liked
worried it
about
was
Kevin
illegal.
Stefanski, yeah, that was the one thing he weirdly like was just he didn't subscribe to,
Mhm.
despite all of the good offenses in the NFL doing it. It was nice to see pre-snap motion. It was nice to see like some of the stuff he schemed up. Unfortunately, the throw that Shador sailed over, I believe it was Gage Lavardian's head, was a really nice route combination that got Gage wide open on a dig. Like there was some stuff in there. Again, it's going to be pretty basic, but I think at the very least, like it will be a professional offense in
Mhm.
terms of how it's designed.
Mhm.
If there is one thing that excites me about Todd Monken, it's that
Yeah.
it's pretty clear the man understands offense. And whether or not the quarterbacks can execute that offense, again, is another
Right.
question entirely. But it
Yeah.
was nice to see like some creative, different stuff after how we've talked about how formulaic Stefanski's offense sort of felt towards the end of his tenure. So there are positives in that way. Like I've been so bummed that Carson Schlesinger has not really been practicing at all because I'm so amped to see that dude in
Yep.
year two. Um, I think there's going to be fun players to watch.
Yes.
It just is going to be the reality of the quarterback situation is so hard to avoid. Like I'd get a text from somebody that'll just say like, why don't they just start Shador? He can at least throw the ball over 10 yards. Like
Mhm.
that's the baseline.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the baselines that we're working with a
Yeah.
quarterback.
I
And
mean,
it's
and whoever texted you is not wrong. That is
no, they're
absolutely what
correct.
they should be doing.
Yeah.
Even with the like 15 false starts that you'd have to take a game or whatever it would
Yeah.
be, to get that stuff ironed out. But I mean, there's at least some possibility of explosion, and it's clear to your point that Monken's offense is going to create explosives. And Watson does not have the ability to find them, does not have the ability to locate and throw the ball downfield. So, yeah, I think it's a really good point, Jordan. The combination of an exciting group of skill players. We haven't even mentioned Harold Fannin, right? That's a young core of skill players. If you can see some development from some of the young, I mean, we're talking about Spencer Fano really on the offensive
Yeah.
line in terms of young players. I guess Zion Johnson counts. Maybe can Parker Brailsford, the 5th-round rookie center, can he maybe get into the some games late in the season? Maybe you've got that for next year. We saw Austin Barber. I thought he looked okay. The 3rd-round tackle. He had some nice reps as well. So there's youth on this team, and that is exciting, especially on the offense because they've been old and not that interesting on offense for a while. So I think that is where I want to like spend most of my attention this year.
Yeah.
In terms of like what the team looks like is, I think your point about Monken is really well made. That regardless of what happens at the quarterback position, you're putting players in a position to succeed more often than what we saw with Kevin Stefanski, and I think even what you saw happen in Atlanta in their first preseason game is kind of an indicator of, we said it was going to be a little bit of a chicken and the egg thing of where things stand. And so that's encouraging in and of itself, right? That again, like who knows how long Todd Monken is here and what it looks like, but if the offense looks like it's ready to drop a quarterback in it next year, right? You can get to a place of, even if it feels like, oh, they might be a year early with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
You could get to a place of potentially going into 2027 with some real excitement. So that's how we want to watch this season without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's how you're going to judge success
Yeah.
because it's going to be if we could drop a above average to hopefully one day great quarterback in this
Sure.
offense, could it be above league average? And if the
Right.
answer feels like yes by the end of the year because you've seen the talent that the wide receivers have, Judkins bounces back nicely from his injury last season. Fannin keeps growing, all these things, and then you feel good about the defense. Yeah, the NFL is the should be in theory
Right.
is one of the easiest leagues to turn around a team from year to year. So, I think that's how, yeah, like to your point, that is how the scope that we will look through in this, because you can get, I mean, I'm sure we'll have frustrating episodes with the quarterbacks because again, it's impossible. They
Right.
touch the ball on every offensive
we're not
step.
going to not talk about it for a season. That would be insane. But we're
Um,
going to try and have fun with it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the only thing we can do here is try and have a little bit of fun with, like, they've got one guy who physically can't do it, and then they've got another guy who mentally can't do it. And if they could put those two guys together, but
Wow.
that's not, from what I understand, legal, and I mean, I thought it was interesting this week that Monken went out of his way to be like, yeah, Taylor Green will play in the third preseason game. And everybody was like, oh, what? Wow. Oh, okay. I'm going to clear my schedule for that Thursday, man.
Fire it up. Fire it up. Taylor Green versus the Patriots? Oh, let's go. Yeah, I wish we could get unfiltered thoughts into what a new coach who doesn't have any attachments to any of these guys. Although somebody did make a great point, and this is also what worries me about Shedeur, is that Monken with the Ravens, one of his first interactions with Shedeur when he became coach was like, we were trying to get you.
I remember.
So there may have been a little bit of affinity there from Todd Monken about Shedeur. And if he still can't convince Todd that like he should be starting an NFL game, that makes me take a pretty big pause in terms of his NFL readiness. So yeah, again, in a perfect world, Andrew, quarterback wise, it's like Shedeur has done at least enough to beat out Deshaun because there's no reason to play Deshaun. But like we are not there, and I don't know if we will get there. And that's very concerning for the future of Shedeur Sanders as an NFL quarterback in general. So it's going to be impossible not to talk about. But I think, fortunately, it appears as if there will be enough other things, hopefully, going on that we can discuss those things more often than having to be like, well, they threw 4 interceptions again. Right. So, yeah.
I mean, that's the goal. You know, how often we're able to keep to that goal, I don't know, man. I mean,
listen, we got a new logo, so this is a new day for us, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like we talked a lot about Deshaun Watson being sent, to tank this season essentially. I do think Monken is the type of guy who's like we're going to end up seeing all 4 of these quarterbacks because he just has less patience for all the BS.
Oh, for sure.
So I think
he's practice early twice.
Yes,
I have never. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that in a very long time from a Browns head coach.
Yeah, so. He is a disappointed dad who is turning that car around.
He said, I will leave this car in park until you're ready.
Are we all calm? Now we can go to the beach.
I will pull onto the shoulder of this freeway until you guys get
it together. Get it together. I'm noticing that the lighting on my camera is changing back and forth every.
Yeah.
So that's a new thing.
It's almost like you're blinking.
But there's not. I just want to be clear for everybody. I'm looking around the room and nothing in the room is blinking. So it's something with the webcam, I guess.
Sure.
Maybe I'll open my webcam settings. This is good. This is good content.
This is good podcast content. Andrew, if you're listening to this, Andrew is resembles what I can only say is a traffic cone at night. And your headlights are hitting it, and then you pass, and then another car comes and it hits it.
That is the feeling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like somebody's toggling between the high beams and the low beams on a webcam, which is not a normal. Anyway, I think that means we should wrap. That's the light. That's the wrap it up.
That is
light.
and wrap it up.
Yeah. We're so excited to be doing this, and I'm very excited for the NFL season. We are going to. I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans, Jordan. We're going to try and do 2 a week during the NFL season. So starting, I think the Monday after or the Monday of week 1. So it would be the 12th, I think, or I'm not sure on the date, maybe the 13th, 14th, that first Monday night, the Chiefs are playing the Broncos. I think we're going to try and do like a live episode where we're just kind of hanging out maybe during the game. It's like a really low rent Manning cast would be sort of the comp. So we're going to try and do that. And then we're going to try and do another one at our normal time, late week. Should be Thursday or Friday most weeks, that we'll be kind of looking ahead. And that's kind of our content plan for the year. We'll see if we can stick to it. I mean, we do both have real day jobs that sometimes require us to travel and sometimes require us to not be available. So we appreciate your patience for when things don't come out when they're supposed to. We're trying to get regular with that, but it is hard for both of us because of just life. I think if we're transparent about that, maybe hopefully it feels a little bit better for you. But we're very excited about that. As soon as we get done recording this, I'm going to talk with Jordan about our schedule leading up to the beginning of the season. Make sure we do like a preview show. We're going to preview the entire NFL. We'll probably talk a little college somewhere in there. So all of that is right around the corner. This is the away team. It is the best bad podcast about Cleveland sports is my other new tagline that I've just debuted here.
Wow.
I think it's pretty good for a bad podcast is how I would describe it. We're so happy that everybody's listening. Thank you all for being with us. Take care. We'll be back soon. with another episode of The Away Team.